Okay, so now I am recording, and we're going to go over joint placement and a few of the techniques used in placing joints. Okay, so first of all, you need to switch to your animation menu set, or you need to get to your hotbox and hotbox control and show animation. I'm going to show animation only for now. And I need to activate my script so you can see what I'm pressing. Okay. Now within that menu set, guys in the back of the room, will you please exit, please? Thank you. I'm going to go to the skeleton menu, joint tool, and I need to place joints from the your orthographic view. Okay, so I'm going to switch to the panels, and I'm going to go to orthographic front. I'm going to go ahead and hide image planes, so I don't need them. I'm going to turn on X-ray joints, and for this, I'm going to turn on the X-ray mode also, because I need to be able to figure out where her center, the bottom of her spine is at. That's what we call, we'll call it the cog or hips joint or root joint. You can call it what you want. Any of those is appropriate. Okay, so I'm going to say that's about right here. And then the first thing you need to do is make sure this is dead center. So I'm going to go to the Translate X attribute and enter a 0. I'm going to press Y to get back to my joint tool. Select that joint with my first click, and then I'm going to add more joints in. Now, because she's a cartoon character, we don't need very many joints in her torso. So I'm going to go ahead and add in, I'll probably just add 3. So here, see, let me back up. If I hold down Shift, it should make it go perfectly straight up. It's not for some reason. That's annoying. Okay. Let's do this. We'll go straight up. Even if I'm not 100% accurate, it's okay. We can fix it later. Okay, I'm going to switch to my move tool. I'm going to go ahead and situate all of these so that there's no X value, or they're all 0. I need to turn off the selectability of my mesh while I'm doing this also. So up here in the marking menu, or what's this called? Anyway, up here at the top, I can turn off meshes. And I'm going to place this one at the root of the neck or top of the back. About right there. This one, if I move it, it's going to move its child also. So if I press insert on my keyboard, I can move just that joint without moving its children. I can pick walk up by pressing up. And I'm just trying to evenly disperse these. Okay. Now those joints are all placed. I'm going to select joint 4, go back to my joint tool. Just reselect it again. And this time I need to go to what I feel like is going to be the root or the base of the head. But I also need to add in the neck joints. So I'm going to add in just one neck joint. And then the base of the head, which you remember is right in between your ears. Right just below your ear canal and in between your ears. Okay. Now, you need to pick walk up. Well, let's just focus on these ones for now, actually. So I'm going to switch to my selection tool. And I need to I need to reorient this joint as well. So I'm going to duplicate it and then parent it to itself, and then move that one up to the top of the head. Then I'm going to grab this base joint and I'm going to switch to my side view. And I need to put these spine joints in, these pelvis, where it belongs, front to back. Now, when you're working on a cartoon character, you always want to put, well, almost always, let's put it this way. The less realistic your character is, you'll want to put the spine joints more just directly in the center of the mass. It doesn't matter where it would be realistically. Now, the more realistic your character is, the more it will float towards a realistic placement. Okay, so I'm going to pick walk, press down to get to the next joint. I'm going to try to move this to the center of the mass. Center of the mass. Center of the mass. And now this one needs to go to the center of the neck. And this one's going to go to the base of the head, which I'm imagining is going to be about right there. Okay, and this top joint doesn't really matter. It's what we call a tip joint. It's only used to orient its parent joint. Okay, so now we should only have translation in these joints in the appropriate axes. So let's get to my perspective view. Okay. Now that is not oriented correctly, so I need to reorient this. So it's a good time to go over this. We go to Skeleton, Orient Joint Tool, Option Box. And I'm going to do this in another tutorial too, but so just real quickly, you have your primary axes. It should be the x-axis by default. The secondary axes will be the y-axis, and the secondary axis to the world orientation is the y in the positive direction. And orient children of a selected joint, I always turn that off. And orient to the local scale axes, yes, you want to change them both most of the time. I will not go into what that is currently. Okay, so I clicked orient joint, and then now X points straight up to its child. Okay. Now I'm going to press up to get to that, what is currently joint 5. Press insert, and I decided I want to move this back just a little bit and up, because this is my mid-neck joint. Okay, so now I need to go through and start doing some renaming. And yes, I'm going to make you watch this for now. So control double click in the hypergraph, you can rename. And this is going to be the root underscore joint. This is spine underscore lower underscore joint. Spine upper underscore joint. Spine, or actually I just call this one shoulders underscore joint. This is neck mid underscore mid underscore joint. Missed a key. And then I've got the head base joint. Head underscore base underscore joint. Okay. This last one is no longer necessary, but we'll keep it for now as the head underscore tip underscore joint. Okay. Now we want our spine to have a base spine joint also. So what we need to do is to duplicate the root joint, delete all of its children, parent the duplicate root joint to the root. We'll rename this one to spine underscore base underscore joint. And then we will parent this spine joint to that new spine joint. So now we have two joints at the exact same location. I will also say that it is very important that this root joint, the first thing you do is you go up the chain, up the spine when you're creating, because that way it will orient that root joint up instead of off in a different direction. So if you were to orient this, because it orients to its first child, which was this joint, so it's going to point straight at that one. Okay? Which mine is not right now because I moved them after the fact. So I can select all of these. And you know what? Let's just focus on joint placement. That's another video. It's bugging me right now. So if it were just me, I would fix it right now. Okay, so we've got this joint. And we can come off of this and start creating the legs. So if I press Y, I'm back in my joints tool. And I need to switch back to my orthographic view. Front. And I'm going to create the hip joint. Right there. Then the knee. Sometimes you need to be able to see your geometry, but you want to be able to see through it. So you turn on the wireframe mode. So it looks like it needs it about right there. And this time you want to hold down Shift because you want it to be a perfectly straight line. And then the ankle. And we'll create one for the, will end up being the ball. Okay. Switch back to my, press Q. Now I need to go back to my perspective view. Okay. My hip is too far back, so I need to move it forward with all of its children. Actually, the hip looks just fine to me. So I probably want to keep it about where it was at. I'm going to go down to the knee. And I'm only moving these in one axis. So I'm going to move the knee towards the front just a little bit. And then that's actually going to create the slight bend that we need in the hip, knee, ankle combo for our IK to work. Pick walk down to get to the ankle. That looks about right. Okay, then we need to grab this ball. We're going to push it to the ball of the foot. We're going to duplicate it and then parent it to itself so we can get the toe tip. Now you'll see that these joints are not pointing out the direction that they should. Okay, so I'm going to grab that hip joint and I'm going to rotate it. I'm going to increase the size of my cursor by pressing the plus sign on my keyboard or equal sign. And I'm going to get this to line up with my mesh where I want it. about right there. Okay, now putting a rotation on the joint makes it unusable. So I need to recreate these joints. So I'm going to turn off polygons. Shrink my cursor back down. Go to my joint tool. And this time I'm going to hold down V and snap. Actually, let me select the root. Snap to the hip, snap to the knee, to the ankle, to the ball, and the toe. Okay, now I can use this joint chain. So I'm going to delete the original because these are going to have translates only. And we rename these hip underscore left underscore joint. This is knee underscore left underscore joint. Ankle underscore left underscore joint. Ball underscore left underscore joint. Then toe. Okay, so now those are placed where I want them. There's already a little bit of a bend in the knee. It's hard, you can't really see it, but it's there because of how I placed those joints earlier. So now we need to switch back to the joint tool, and we need to connect our collarbone and arm. So I'm going to go to Show, Polygons, switch back to my orthographic view. Remember the collarbone is right here in the center, top of the sternum. Put it about right there. Turn on X-ray. I want her shoulder. Imagining about right here. And now in the shoulder, elbow, wrist combo needs to be perfectly straight. Okay, so I'm going to hold down Shift and click out there where the elbow needs to be. And then I'm going to do the same thing for the wrist. Then I'm going to create one additional one for the kind of the tip of the hand for now. Okay, so that's not going to work where it's at, obviously. You need to rotate this down. So I'm going to switch to my rotate tool, select the shoulder, and I'm going to rotate it into place. I need to move this up. So I'm going to move it up so that it's exactly the same as the wrist joint. So I activated that Y handle. I'm going to hold down V and why did it do that? Okay, so I'm going to snap it there and then switch to the world mode and just move it out. Now it's perfectly in line. Vertically or horizontally, whatever you call it. Turn back on polygons. Okay, now those are where they need to be for the most part. But I have rotation on this shoulder joint, so I need to draw new ones in. Let me go back to my joint tool and select joint 1. Guess I didn't need polygons back on. And then I'm going to hold down V and snap on the shoulder, elbow, wrist, hand. Press Q. Now I can get rid of joint 2, 3, 4, and 5 because these ones don't have rotations on them now. But I do need to put a little crook in the elbow so my IK will work perfectly. And I need to view this from a different angle real quick to make sure that my placement is accurate. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the elbow, press insert, go to my move tool, then press insert. I'm going to slide that back just a touch. Okay. Press insert to go back to the regular mode. Then I need to go to joint 1, which is my clavicle or collarbone. And actually, I do want to move this forward only without moving the children joint, so I pressed insert. Okay, so now my arm joints are placed, and I need to rename them. So this is clavicle underscore left underscore joint. This is shoulder underscore left underscore joint. Elbow underscore left underscore joint. Wrist underscore left underscore joint. And this is kind of a tip joint actually, so maybe we'll just call it wrist underscore tip underscore joint. Okay, so now I've got all of the joints I need on one half. To get them over to the other half is actually just really easy. So if I select the left clavicle, I can go to skeleton, mirror joints tool, option box. I can tell it to mirror across the YZ plane because she's facing forward is Z. And I can also look down here at the little cursor, and Y is stacked on top of Z, so that I know that's the plane I need to mirror across. I want to mirror for behavior, and I'm going to tell it to search for underscore L underscore and replace that with underscore R underscore. So when it does it, it's going to move it over to the right side, and the joints will be renamed for me. Okay. I need to do the same thing with the hips. Okay, now I've got both sides done. And sometimes it's useful to have these hips parented to the root joint so you can move the hips, rotate the hips individually. So we're going to grab that root joint one more time, duplicate it, grab all of the children. I'm going to recall this one hips underscore joint. Parent this to the root. Grab my hip, left and right hip joint and parent that to the hips joint. Now we'll have those just in case we need them. Okay. So that's the joint placement for the most part. Next, we need to get into the nitty-gritty of the hand. So actually, I'm not going to do the hand on video. Just going to let you guys try to figure that one out. Not even the thumb. Okay. So yeah, we'll stop recording there.